I'm the Alchemist Astrologer, and this is your May forecast for Gemini Sun, Gemini Rising, and Gemini Moon. So what's at the heart of the matter for you? You're making some decisions, and these decisions may tie to a daughter, a friendship, or an advisor of some sort. Right now you have some strong intuition that is guiding you. You're being forced to reevaluate something. It could be something that you once believed. It could be a promise that you made or was made to you. It could be the relationship itself, a goal that you had in mind. You're having to make a decision now and think outside of the box. There's a hidden influence or something going on behind the scenes of a secretive nature. And perhaps you want to handle some things more effectively. Now the King of Swords is here. This could very well be you. Or perhaps this is another air sign. Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, Sun, Moon, or Rising, male or female. Or just the traits of this king will be important. He is a decision maker. He is very analytical. And his way of supporting others may be to come up with solutions, solve problems. He's not the most intimate person. He may have difficulty expressing his emotions. So there's a decision. Both of these are decision cards. And you are handling something in a different way. Something tied to your desire. It could be something that you very much want. It could be connected to love. Or it could also be connected to sexuality and just plain lust. Now what's interesting is you have the desire card and you have the High Priestess, which usually has a celibate overtone. There's a virginal quality to the High Priestess. So there's something at odds here. And you want to handle something more effectively. Now you may be getting some advice connecting to authority figures. Perhaps this is a judge, a lawyer, a professor, again, someone in a position to make decisions. Negatively, this is someone who is very caustic, a toxic personality, who is cut off from his emotions, who is ruthless in nature. He may have a tendency to cut off his children. So he can be an absent father or somebody very distant, emotionally aloof, detached, or cold. Someone who's not involved. So again, positively, you are making some decisions where you are re-evaluating a connection. And it's likely that your relationships are undergoing some form of reconstruction, particularly those connected to females. So, you're having to look at your intuition and perhaps deal with situations that tie to the past conditioning, your psychological state, your emotions, your moods, and whether you or others are playing the game fairly or skewing the boards, the odds, so that they'll come out in your favor. The High Priestess has to pay attention to her intuition, but she cannot get lost in her emotion. Now, you may be cutting off your intuition, not in touch with your true feelings, and perhaps being overly logical, overly analytical, cutting off your emotions, not paying attention to what your inner voice is telling you. But the desire could be, again, to handle something more effectively. Now, in the past, you also had this opportunity. This would have been a windfall, something that literally fell into your lap. It could also be, though, a spiritual dilemma. In either case, you experience some kind of growth. For some of you, you may be making decisions that tie to large sums of money, opportunities to make money, gifts of money, large, expensive purchases. Perhaps you are meeting someone through a purchase. It could be a piece of real estate, a repair, maybe you change your schedule at work. You want to manifest something. You want to make a decision. There's a desire to manifest something that may carry a risk factor. You're having to choose between safety and security, the familiar, the well-known, or something that is passionate, something that carries a risk. So you're making making a decision tied to something that affects you emotionally and perhaps financially. It could even be your fitness level, something physical, a relationship based just on the physicality of the connection. You also have death here. There could be a strong tie to a Scorpio person. But this is an intense situation that may be stressful or crisis-oriented. You will have to have patience to deal with it. Perhaps it's an opportunity or it's necessary for you to pay for some type of surgery. Or you have issues connected to insurance, debts, legacies, wills, shared resources. Some of you, again, there's an opportunity that you're waiting to manifest that ties to sexuality. So you may be waiting for the opportunity to express yourself in a sensual, sexual manner with someone. Although the person that you're interested in may need some convincing, you're going to have to come up with some different ideas to involve this person, because there's an issue about whether you or someone wants to actually get involved. Something about this situation is mysterious or enigmatic, something that you can't quite figure out. Now, you may be making a decision to connect to someone who can give you that advice, someone who is involved in the inner loop, who has some inside knowledge about a situation. But something you're having to either regenerate, renew, repair, or improve, or you're going to have to surrender and let it go. The death of something is possible. So you'll be releasing something, perhaps a decision to release an opportunity, a large sum of money, or surrender something, give it up, let it go. Because right now, wanting to handle something in a better manner means you don't want to be in a confining situation. You don't want something that's not growing. You don't want anything that's uncertain. So, or perhaps someone is telling you that. Someone is making a decision about whether there's actual growth, whether something can improve or repair, or whether you simply need to let it go. It's a dead issue. That was in the past. Currently, something is moving quickly. There's a breakthrough. So you're making a decision. Again, it may tie to a female figure or your own intuition. Something about communication or travel. Something that's happening suddenly. And so whatever this decision is, it's coming about with some kind of surprise factor. The unexpected, both in yourself, in situations, and other people. And it's moving quickly. There's some kind of breakthrough. Unexpected news, an unexpected visitor, some kind of psychological insight, a breakthrough in a situation that means you're going to have to get on the move. Either you're going to have to hurry up and try to get something going, or wrap up those loose ends, or launch something, or get it started, or push it forward, because there's movement in order. Now, if there is lust and desire, you want to manifest something, you're waiting for a connection, a deeper, more intimate connection, perhaps you realize that you have fallen in love with someone. Whatever this is, it's moving quickly, and if you're not ready to get on board, it could very easily take you by storm, where you're having to play catch up. You're also looking at expectations. Perhaps there's some communication about, maybe you're rushing into a marriage, or you were making a decision to get married, or whether you want to be, or what the expectations are with regard to something, a decision that you're making. where, again, there's a surprise factor. There's a need for movement to take place. For some of you, this may tie to a Taurus person. But if not, you may be dealing with establishments, guidelines, rules. So you may be dealing with, entities where there's a particular order, a way to do things. The bank, the school, a company, the church, some educational institution. There's a way of doing something that is traditional, established, expected. Perhaps for some of you, this involves some type of ceremony or a significant marker like a birthday, which there would be the opportunity for renewal, or perhaps there's something concerning a death. But something is moving forward. Now, this can be a very productive period. You may be making decisions to travel, to communicate. There's some breakthroughs. You're getting a lot done. You're making a lot of progress. Again, it's a prolific period for you where you are producing. But for some of you, this is a period where there's some scandal on the horizon, a bit of intrigue. You may have invited some kind of drama that you weren't fully prepared to deal with. This is a time where you're going to have strong insight into a situation and see it clearly, not allow your biases, your prejudices, your preconceived ideas drive the momentum. Because there's some kind of inconsistency on your behavior or that of others, where somebody is not showing up. They're not doing what they said they would do. They're not following the rules. Now, perhaps you're making some decisions where it's necessary to think outside of the box. Maybe you're involved in some new age thinking, something metaphysical, something against the grain, out of the norm. Or, maybe you're just being very original, or you're involved with someone who is a new age thinker, somebody who thinks outside of the box. So there are issues of communication where you're making decisions, perhaps something modern, forward-thinking versus the traditional, the old order, the expected way of doing things. And again, you're reevaluating some kind of promise or relationship where there were expectations that likely weren't met. Somebody made too many promises and failed to deliver, and it's having an impact. Commitment, tradition is very important, and there may be some fears or illusions about marriage, about how committed someone is, what they're expected to do. And there could be some shadow or underhanded behavior connected to those expectations or breaking the rules and going against the grain. Now in the future, you have the Temperance card. Perhaps there's a tie to a Sagittarius. There may be the opportunity to socialize. You may be testing the waters, or somebody may be testing the waters with regard to an opportunity, perhaps the opportunity to connect. This may tie to a new friendship or a budding romance. But you're going to have to really think about meeting in the middle with this person. You're making some decisions, again, to renew, repair, improve, or let it go. So compromise and self-restraint, self-control is going to be key. Now there's maybe some procrastination. There's an important conversation that needs to be had where it's possible you may get some kind of breakthrough, some insight. You want to handle something more effectively, and it requires that you be direct and honest, that you speak your truth and that you listen as well. So whatever you've been putting off, it's time to address that issue. And you may be surprised at the breakthroughs that occur. So you may be trying to reconcile differences, trying to determine whether you're compatible. This may even have to do, again, with some form of socialization. So you're thinking about where you may have been pushing some boundaries. you're trying to decide how far is too far. For either you or another person, there could be issues of extravagance, going too far, making too many purchases, or saying the wrong thing, spending too much money. You're looking at finding that middle path. And it may tie to also an earth sign person. This could be Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, Sun, Moon, or Rising, male or female. There's a decision that needs to take place about how to create an opportunity. Maybe this is a business opportunity, or how to grow, manage, organize, spend something that may tie to healing or compromise. So you may be making some compromises about how something will be managed, who's making the decisions, and what's their authority to do so. Are we doing something traditional? Are we going to go with the surprise factor? For some of you, this is a very positive omen as far as prosperity and success. The Queen of Pentacles is a maternal-like influence, a nurturing influence meant to grow something, whether that is a relationship, business, money, family, friendship, physical health. So she's also seeking answers. So there's an opportunity to make a decision connected to someone wanting some answers. Perhaps there's a message that is received, either from this Queen of Pentacles or about this Queen of Pentacles. This could be a message from a hidden source, or perhaps a covert implication of what is expected. And you also have the Queen of Cups. So there's an invitation. Now, the Queen of Cups is a very loving, very feminine influence, also maternal. She's motivated by her heart. She's the ideal feminine, and she's willing to listen, to open herself up, to hear, but she can be a bit mysterious and difficult to know. So there's the influence of something. Someone may be overly influenced to compromise. There's an invitation on the table, and perhaps a subliminal or covert message implied that, hey, what are you going to do? I'm waiting for you to respond to this invitation. I'd like to socialize with you. I'd like to find out if we're compatible. So again, you're making this decision about what's expected. How committed are you? Would you like to renew this commitment, or should you end it? There's some intensity here, and you're having to make a decision. The intensity may be good. Could be sexual attraction, a desire to get intimate, and how to go about to achieve that closeness that you're looking for. But the Temperance also is again about pushing boundaries, going too far, procrastinating, putting things off. Now, with two queens here, perhaps these are two different women. There's a decision to make between two women, or this may be two sides of the same person. So for some of you, there's an issue where there's a choice among lovers. Perhaps there's some competition for favors, competition for love, could be some rivalry, some jealousy, or simply that there are multiple ways of acting or attitudes towards someone. This is, maybe somebody is loving through organizing, managing, but maybe they go a little bit too far. For some of you, this is about a friend or an acquaintance. Again, maybe a rival or some kind of conflicting needs. This King of Swords is very focused on this High Priestess. Again, making a decision to handle something more effectively in a friendship, a promise, a relationship, a goal, an objective, where there could be a hidden influence of past conditioning. These queens, either one of them, are concerned with this underlying energy, this frustration that has occurred, some form of heartbreak or grief, where again, maybe there's a love triangle or a third-party influence. It could be that there's been a breakdown in communication or negotiations. Someone got some bad news, and maybe they were expecting that, and if so, they took that news in stride and kept going. But you or someone else may not have been expecting something, in which case they're having a hard time dealing with the reality, the challenge of the truth. So there's some kind of issue at stake. Now, for some of you, maybe perhaps this is about getting surgery. Maybe it's a health issue, establishments to heal, to take better care of yourself through food and nurturance. And maybe it ties to a heart condition or, again, some minor surgery of some sort. There's also an issue connected to ancestry, background. So perhaps there's some kind of grief or heartbreak or situation connected to the past, may even be a past life or the death of something, having to release something. So for some of you, you may be dealing with letting go of something that is frustrating or hurtful to you. Whatever this is, there's a dilemma, a choice that you're having to make where you feel conflicted. Perhaps because you don't have enough information, there's some uncertainty. One of you may be sitting on the fence with regard to something. Maybe it involves a legal situation, a settlement concerning a large sum of money. Maybe there's some kind of debt involved where, you're considering making a decision about that. So whatever this is, there's some frustration about how something has been handled. And maybe you're not adequately dealing with your feelings about it. Maybe you're in conflict with someone, or maybe you're the cause of conflict, especially if there's rivalry or jealousy. You're also weighing your options, and it could be that you're choosing between two partners or two opportunities, or you're having to juggle a lot of responsibility. And also, if there's a huge debt involved, it may be that there is a lack of resources. There's simply not enough money. And maybe you're trying to juggle a situation and, accommodate someone else, but also look out for yourself as well. Again, whatever this is, it's something that is coming back to you for further thought. There's some turmoil in your situation, some measure of chaos due to outer forces. There's some unexpected changes due to others. And the focus is on work and productivity. Now you have 4 major cards, each holding a key that will give you an opportunity to overcome some kind of challenge. And knowing the keys keeps you from being overwhelmed by challenging circumstances. So for the Death card, you're going to have to learn how to regenerate a situation where there's the possibility of stagnancy if you don't. And that could mean reinventing yourself, how you're thinking, a way of being. The High Priestess says you're going to have to draw upon your intuition to gain some insight into a situation, to look at where past conditioning, old habits, a history is filtering through your behavior with negative results. It's intolerance for the viewpoints and decisions of other people. The Hierophant says you're having to look at whether an original approach needs to be taken, whether you're putting something off and that it is now time to think outside of the box. Maybe there's a fear of commitment, but you finally get a breakthrough when you reevaluate something. And the Temperance card says you have to be direct, to endure a situation. And avoid a misjudgment where you go too far, you don't go far enough. It's about hitting the mark. Now, what is the question for you that's important? How can I infuse more self-love and compassion into my life? Which may be your fear about commitment or intimacy or sexuality. Or, debt or crisis situations. So if your compassion does not include yourself, it is incomplete. And I would go one further and say that if you don't have compassion for yourself, it's very difficult to really truly have compassion for others. And if you're not loving yourself, you may think that you're loving someone else. But that's not a possibility either. So you are encouraged to do something related to self-care, which may mean set some stronger boundaries, meditate and listen to your heart, speak to yourself with compassion, focus on your strengths, say no to something that isn't a soul yes, say yes to something that you are afraid of. Let go of what you cannot control. Stay away from drama and negativity. Ask for help and then allow that help to come to you. The answer is just laugh. So perhaps you're adding some intensity to a situation based on some fears, illusions, some biased opinions where perhaps rethinking boundaries is important. You're going to have to just laugh at a situation. And maybe it's time to compromise, to socialize, to open your heart to an invitation, and allow the opportunity for something to grow.